Ladies and gentlemen, opening day is here. Major League Baseball is here. Today is the first day. And I'm somewhat excited. At this point, you probably know I am a Chicago White Sox fan. Southside. I'm a Southsider here. So I do have some optimism. But in the back of my head, I am worried that we might be a big disappointment again like last year. But nevertheless, today is opening day. Can't believe it's here already. Just a reminder, the Houston Astros, who my team does play for opening day, are the reigning World Series champions. If you remember, they did beat the Philadelphia Phillies in 6 last year. Dusty Baker finally has his first World Series ring as a manager because he's been with 5 different clubs at least. But nevertheless, opening day is here, and I'm here for it. As a kid, opening day probably meant a lot more than what it is now. Matter of fact, baseball as a whole was a lot more popular for me when I grew up in the 90s than what it is now. Like, I used to follow baseball as much as I followed basketball and football. I used to be able to tell you all the big name stars, who was definitely legendary. My favorite player growing up, by far, Ken Griffey Jr., without a doubt. Ken Griffey Jr. was the number one player that got me excited about baseball, that got me interested in baseball. The kid, the perfect swing. And even to this day, that swing is still perfect. There's a video that went around of him taking batting practice with the U.S. World Team, doing the World Baseball Classic, and everybody on the team was just watching him, taking at bats in practice. And the fact that he hit one out is like, he still got it. And, on a side note, not to mention, he's like the 3rd or 4th highest player on the Cincinnati Reds roster today. But that's neither here nor there. That's just wild within itself. But Ken Griffey Jr. was, he was that guy. He was that cultural influence for me that made me look up and like, hey, somebody that looks like me can be playing like this at a high level in this particular sport. Let me go out there and try to be Ken Griffey Jr. too. That's how it was for me as a kid. Baseball was, like I said, a lot more popular when I was growing up than it is now. It does not resonate with the younger generation by any means. And I feel like that's for a lot of different reasons. Especially within the African American community. That has dwindled significantly. So I do appreciate the likes of Tim Anderson these days. I really do. And I'm happy that Tim Anderson is on my favorite team. Man, but yeah, to my understanding, all 30 teams are in play today. Like I mentioned earlier, my team is playing the defending champs, the Houston Astros, tonight. 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. I'm excited. Like I said, last year was a big disappointment for my White Sox. We was supposed to win the division, head and shoulders. Never happened. Matter of fact, we finished at .500 winning percentage, 81 wins and 81 losses. We have a new voice as far as the manager. I'm so glad we got rid of Mr. DUI. Tony La Russa, also known as Father Time, because that man's that old. Never mind. I'll leave him alone, but I'm hoping the newer guy here, Can't even think of his name at the moment, but I'm hoping he has more of a connection with this group right here. I felt like Tony La Russa was too old to have any type of connection with these players. I feel like Tony La Russa and Tim Anderson was complete polar opposites. One was at the North Pole, the other one was at the South Pole. I guess the only thing they had in common was they just happened to work for the same organization. So, I'm hoping the new voice, new ear, breath of fresh air, restart, whatever you want to call it, I'm hoping that actually does something. Because in reality, usually all someone needs is a better working environment, better situation for an employee or a person that has to work to actually perform at a higher level. Like usually, if the environment is better, the people in that environment want to do better. Usually, right? Like at your 9 to 5, I'm pretty sure a lot of people can't stand what they do. That's just what it is. But I'm pretty sure if the working conditions were a little bit more suitable, a little bit more easygoing, a little bit more relaxing, then you might not feel as stressed out, might be feeling more productive to actually, get through the day. Maybe getting through the day might be a little easier. That makes sense, right? So that's what I'm hoping. Just a new voice, a new presence, new aura, Maybe that might resonate. Maybe that might click. Maybe that might get this team to actually play harder. Because, Tony La Russa, had some very bad moments last year. Actually, historic moments that was pretty bad last year. But I still cannot blame it all on Tony La Russa. Like, the players still got to go out there and play. And there was definitely a lot of duds. So, we'll see what happens. We did lose, Jose Abreu, our former MVP, to the team that we're playing against tonight, the Houston Astros. It is what it is. Houston is the enemy. You went to the enemy, so now you're the enemy. Plain and simple. That was a pretty easy formula, right? If our opponent's the enemy and you join the enemy, therefore you become the enemy. So, that's that. Their former ace, Justin Verlander, who in my opinion should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, even though the Baseball Hall of Fame is the toughest Hall of Fame in sports, in my opinion, he still should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is with the New York Mets, no longer with the Houston Astros. So, maybe just maybe, that might hurt them a little bit there. But nevertheless, I am looking forward to this season. One of the number one questions I always have is the Anaheim Angels for two reasons. Because of their top two players, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, who, been arguably like supposedly the best 1-2 players in all of baseball. But that doesn't amount to wins. I feel like the Angels as an organization has been failing for a long time now. But what will probably be the headline is Shohei Ohtani becomes a free agent at the end of this season. Where will he sign? Will he stay there? Will he go? There is rumors of him maybe possibly coming to Chicago for either one of the teams there. And if I'm one of these teams in Chicago, I'm doing whatever it takes and how much money I'm spending to bring this man in. Because if you're worried about the financial aspect of the contract for throwing all that money at a guy and he may not perform, that's fine, because you would make that money up in the first year. Because he is that box office. Shohei Ohtani is kind of similar to LeBron James, to where he can win MVP every year if they choose to give it to him. He's been playing that well as a two-way player. We haven't seen anything like this in in generations. What, Babe Ruth was the last one, and at this point, he's just a folk hero. We hear about the great Bambino. We never saw him. We never seen him in person. But we heard the legends of this man. And the way Shohei Ohtani is, can be pitching lights out. And a sensational batter. It's insane. But that's one of the headlines for me for sure. The Anaheim Angels, see what they do this year. As I'm going through this, can the Bronx Bombers, can they actually put it all together? Aaron Judge, hashtag all rise. Sensational MVP season last year. Now that he got the bag, is he going to actually, still perform at that high level? Because he did bet on himself, and he won. Without a doubt. That man doesn't have to take another single swing in his career. That man won. But can the Yankees, still be dominant? That's what I want to know. Can the Guardians within my division still be a pretty good team this year? Or can my team catch them? The NL East, that division, man, that is a very unique, interesting, tough division outside the Marlins. I feel like the Braves, Nationals, Mets, and Phillies can make a run at this division right now. The NL Central, can the Cubs actually be relevant again? How good is the Brew Crew? Cardinals still consistent? We'll see. And then, of course, the NL West. The Dodgers still dodgering. Giants has still been somewhat consistent here. But the Padres, that's the team. That's the team. They have 3 legitimate stars on this team. Can they actually live up to the expectations? That's the team in the NL that I am looking at the most. The San Diego Padres. They are not afraid to spend the money. They've been relevant for the last couple of years. But them, trading for Juan Soto in the middle of the year, arguably a top 5 player in the league at a very young age, and gave him the bag. Are they going to live up to the hype? Because you definitely got that LA team in your way. And yes, you have gotten past them. But that team, as we know, the Dodgers are really good. Can they do it again? And then finally, can they get over the hump? Because you made it pretty far last year without Machado. But can you do it this year? When everybody gets on the roster, when everybody is healthy, can you live up to the hype? That's what I want to know. So yeah, I am very excited. Definitely excited about this year overall. I'm hoping that the new rules as far as the clock for the pitcher and the batter, not only is going to speed the game up by default, but maybe it might actually improve viewership for the younger generation a little bit. Now, I was on record saying the other day, I'm thinking it'd be marginal improvement, but maybe it might do better than that. Because as we know, we live in a microwave society. We want everything instant. If it is taking too long, we're not interested. That's why you go from just, watching videos to reels these days. That's why reels are popular, because it's instant. It doesn't take too long. You get straight to the point. We're not beating around the bush. And that's the type of society that we live in. So, hopefully, America's quote-unquote pastime can turn into modern time here. And increase interest. We'll see. But baseball in my opinion, needs to do marketing similar to the NBA as well, as far as promoting the players a little bit more. Make it player driven. Make it, put faces out there so they can recognize the stars of the game. I know some. I don't know all by face. I don't. I just know the name. But if I don't know the face with it, it's kind of hard for me to make that connection. But I will say, one person paid up this point saying, I guess another reason, to get people engaged, the showmanship of the game. Let's, bat flips, to get the players riled up. If I get hit by a pitch, charge them out a little bit more. Just get them rowdy, get them entertaining. Like, that competitive fire, we want to see it. That drive. I'll tell you this much. If they allow Russell Westbrook type player in MLB on a 162 game schedule, we wouldn't have any issues. We would not. If Russell Westbrook played baseball, we would not have any issues. So who is that Russell Westbrook type player that's going to give you its all, give you that high energy, not back down from anybody? Flex on them. That's what we want to see. Bat flips and all. And the few bat flips that I've seen in my life, dude, the energy is crazy. Just through the video, I can't even imagine actually being there in person. So yeah, that would help out a lot. A whole lot. I'm for it. And lastly, I'll say this. I know it's hard to watch baseball on TV. I get it. Because mainly for me, the only time I'm really watching baseball on TV, outside of opening day and the home run derby, it's probably playoff baseball if my team is in it, or the World Series. But it's a completely different experience when you're actually at the game. I know that for a fact. Being at the game as opposed to being on TV is night and day. Black and white. It's completely different. It is. So, if you follow baseball, let me know who your team is, what your expectations are. As you know, we have a long season, but we're actually here to opening day, so let's make the most out of it. So continue to rock with your boy right here on the No Offense Radio and the No Offense Network. Check me out on social media at JGoodWithSports. We're talking about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. And continue to rock right here on the JGoodWithSports podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. Saturday, we back again with the fellas, Brandon and Ian, on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, live 7 a.m. on Facebook and also on YouTube as well. Come kick it with us as we talk all things sports and also our Chicago-based sports as well. But until next time, let's finish this month strong. Only 2 more days left, and then all of a sudden we're in April, and then maybe, just maybe, the weather might get a little warm up here. But until then, rock with your boy right here. You all be safe, enjoy, be blessed. Until next time, peace.